and welcome to another lawnfawn video. Today we are introducing our brand new set, Here We Go A-Waddling, and its coordinating dies. So let's go ahead and check it out. So this set is all about caroling penguins, and we have them in the little triple group and then one by himself. We also have these cute little penguins that are a-waddling, and then an electric guitar playing penguin, of course. We have a little bell for those little penguins to ring, and then we have a lamppost for setting the scene, and then these great little music notes that I love putting in the air around the penguins. We have a little heart and then some great sentiments. So we have Here We Go A-Waddling, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's penguining to look a lot like Christmas. And then we have Hope Your Christmas, Jingle Bell Rocks, or Is Merry. Then we also have a little fa la la that you can stamp in the sky for them singing. So now I'm using my Copic markers to add some color to these fun images, and for penguins I like using toner grays or neutral grays. So on these first penguins here I'm going to do some toner grays, which I just think looks really cool, and I like to keep them mostly towards the darkest of my gray marker, just adding a little bit of highlight. So you can see on the top of the penguin on the left just a little bit of highlight on her forehead, and on this one on the left I'm going to have just a little bit of highlight there towards his outside, just so that it's not just plain one marker, but it's still really dark and black like a penguin should be. So here you can see I'm going to do the same thing. I'm laying down my medium and now my darkest marker over most of the areas, then my medium, and then just a couple areas there with that lightest marker. And I'm going to repeat the same thing for this other little cute little caroling penguin. Now, as I move on to those waddling penguins, I decided to keep a little bit more of an area on them towards the lightest marker, and I think it's going to kind of make them look kind of round and almost just look kind of cool, kind of three-dimensional. So you'll see the tops of their heads are a lot lighter than I did the other penguins, and it's kind of a fun look to try. Now for the penguins' bodies, I sometimes just leave them plain white, or sometimes I take my lightest marker like the N0 and then blend it out with my colorless blender just to give them a little extra something. So it just depends on how I feel that day for my penguins. Now in this case I'm going to be doing YR 15 and 14 for their little feet and their beaks, which I think looks so cool. And then now I'm going to take out my red markers and I'm going to do all of the red areas next. And so I feel like my coloring kind of goes faster if I stamp out a bunch of images and then I pick that one red color and I do all of the different areas that I'm going to do red and do it all at once. And I feel like it goes faster, and I just kind of enjoy it this way because I'm going to kind of focus on one color at a time. So now I'm going to focus on the aqua color. So I'm laying down my darkest marker and then I'm going to blend it out with my light. And with these two markers, I sometimes have a little trouble blending them. So I touch my lightest to my darkest marker to create kind of a medium shade to help me blend between the two markers. I'm also going to give that cute little penguin a little aqua guitar too, because I just think aqua electric guitars always look really cool. Next up, I'm going to use a really light warm gray marker just to add a little bit of color to that penguin, and then I'm going to use some light browns for my little books there, the little music books that they're reading. And I really like these light brown colors for the books. It just reminds me of kind of like an old book of music, how they kind of get yellowed like that. And then here I love these yellows for the lamppost. I put that darker yellow at the bottom and the really light at the top, and it really looks like it's glowing. So here are the coordinating dies, which I can bend apart at the tabs or use my wire snips to separate them. I'm going to line them up with my stamped images and hold them in place with some low tack tape. Then I'm going to run them through my die cut machine, and then I just love popping them out of the dies. It always looks so cute when they're all just cut out perfectly. And then here you can see all of those fun penguins and all of the scenes that you can be creating. So now it's time to make a card, and I'm going to stamp out a bunch of houses from the Winter Village stamp set, which is a perfect match for this set. And so I'm going to color those and then use my coordinating dies to cut them out and use these to help set the scene for my little caroling penguins. I'm going to add a little music note to their little choral book there, and then I'm going to use my stitched hillside backdrop here on some nitpicky paper to cut out some snowy hills. So I love using that nitpicky paper to be the snow. I think it looks so cool with the knit pattern. And then here, this is some plaid paper from Perfectly Plaid Chill that's going to be my sky. So I'm going to use my little pieces here as a guide as to where I'm going to line up my sentiment. And then I can use my Misty there to stamp out It's Penguining to Look a Lot Like Christmas. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that out, and then also stamp out one more little music note there. I'm creating a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25, and then I'm going to take that sky piece and put that onto my card base. And then next I'm going to use a bunch of foam dots on my stitched hillside backdrop die cut piece and layer that right on top. Now this is the fun part. It's kind of tucking all of these things in the hill. So I'm going to tuck that one lamppost behind the hill, the house behind the other one, and that's going to give this card a ton of dimensions. I'm going to line up that little lamppost and then put my two other little houses there, and then take the tiny lamppost from Winter Village and line those up too. And I just love how it's looking. And then I'm going to take some foam tape and add it to my caroling penguins, and you can see how cute this card is. This card just makes me smile. For my next card, I'm going to be using the Shut the Front Door die with some narwhal and storm cloud cardstock, and so I've die cut those there. And then I'm going to cut down some Watercolor Wishes paper there to be kind of the glow behind the door. And instead of making the door interactive this time, I'm actually just going to glue the whole thing down so that it's just going to be a background for my caroling penguins. Then here I'm taking some knock on wood paper to be kind of the siding for the house in a turquoise color because I was in a turquoise mood. And then here I've got some chili pepper cardstock, and I am going to go ahead and stamp on it with some Versamark ink there. I used my powder tool beforehand to make sure that the embossing powder doesn't stick anywhere but that Versamark ink. And then you can see I'm heat embossing two of them because I'm going to cut these out freehand, and I knew I'd probably make a mistake. So I thought, you know what, let me cut out both. And of course I did. You can see the one there at the bottom where I messed up. But on this one here, you can see I'm cutting in the curve of the stamp, kind of creating my own little custom banner. So I'm going to keep kind of trimming it down slowly in kind of thin little slivers until it looks just perfect. Now next up, I needed to create some snow for the bottom of the house, so I'm trimming down some of that same nitpicky paper there, that nice knit paper to be my snow, and then I can layer this piece right on top. Now here's where I realized that I had made this card just a little bit too wide, so I'm going to trim off about 1/2 inch here, just make it a little bit of a skinnier card, and then I'm going to layer my door right on top. And then from there, I can take my caroling penguins and add some foam tape to them and layer them on top of the door like they're caroling at someone's door. Now I've taken some more foam tape and added it to my fun Wish You a Merry Christmas banner there. And then here I'm cutting some more storm cloud paper and just creating a really thin 1/16 of an inch border around the card just to make it pop. And so here I'm creating my card base, and I can layer that nice gray cardstock on there. Now for the inside, I wanted to stamp the "and Happy New Year," so it's "We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year," and so I put the little single caroling penguin on the inside. Now here's when I realized it looked a little plain, so I'm taking out my mini wreath die, and I've die cut there from some white cardstock and also some kind of silver glitter paper too, and I thought that looked really cool for kind of this glittery snowy wreath. Then I've cut the tiny little bow die that comes in the mini wreath die set out of some chili pepper cardstock. I'm adding some glue to that little end there, and I'm going to wrap it around the bow to give the bow a nice finished look. And then I can take that whole bow and then add it to those little bow ends. And I'm going to actually hold them, you can see in between the tweezers there, so that it has time to dry with the pressure of the tweezers behind it, and that really helps it stick really well. Now it's time to layer my little wreath, so I'm adding some drops of glue onto the white wreath, and I'm going to put my silver glittery wreath on top and then glue that to the front door, and I really think this is a nice finishing touch. And then that little red bow is going to be this great pop of color, and it's also going to tie in the red of the sentiment too, which I really, really like. And this card is just making me smile. I love that the sentiment is finished on the inside. So it's "We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." I'm already singing the song in my head, but I'm going to keep it in my head instead of singing out loud and torturing you guys. But just this card just makes me smile. So after doing this card, I knew that I had to use the waddling penguins because I hadn't used those yet, and I just think they're so cute. So I die cut a bunch of penguins and a bunch of jingle bells, and I've got my little guitar penguin guy too. And so I'm going to add a little drop of glue to the little penguin hands and have them hold the little jingle bell. Then here I have the scallop box card pop-up die, and I'm die cutting that again from that white knit paper from Nitpicky. It's called Baby Booties, and it's my favorite paper. I love that knit texture so much. So now I'm folding along these score lines that the die created for me, about in the middle of it, and then also on that tab. And then I'm going to take some score tape and add that to both of those tabs. Then I can remove the liner tape on one of the sides, and I'm going to glue these two together to create one long piece. Then next, I'm cutting some of the insert pieces. I have 3 of them, and I'm going to fold along the score lines the die created for me and add some adhesive to each of those tabs on all 3 of those inserts. I'm then going to line them up while the box is still open. I find this a lot easier to do because this way I can make sure they're always perfectly straight. So I am lining up the one on the back and then the one towards the front, and then kind of splitting the difference with the one in the middle there. And then once they're all in there, I can lay them down flat and then fold the right side of the box over and pick up that adhesive, making sure that they always are going to be nice and straight and flat. Then I can remove the adhesive on that other tab, put it together, and now we have the box all formed. I'm going to fold down 3 of the sides, leaving one of the sides still straight because that's going to be kind of my sky background of my whole card. Now I'm going to die cut some of that perfectly plaid chill paper again. I had all these papers out, so I figured I'd make 3 cards kind of all in the same color scheme. And then here I have my stitched hillside borders, and so I'm using the different stitched hillside borders to die cut that same paper there, and I've cut it to 3¼ inches wide, which is the width of the box. And so what I'm going to do is insert these into the box to kind of give these taller snowy hills. So I'm going to trim down each of those pieces, and then I can add some adhesive to it and then drop it right in along that insert, but have this kind of nice big snowy hill coming out of the box, which I think looks really cool. So my bumpy hill in the back, and then the slope going down to the right, and then the one towards the left at the bottom. And then now it's time to start decorating the box. So I'm going to take my little electric guitar, that guy there, and line him up. And then I'm going to take these little penguins, the waddling penguins with their cute little bells, and I'm going to glue those all along the hills. And I kind of added their bells at different angles so that it would look kind of cool, having the bells kind of like they're all just ringing them, which I think is just so much fun. Then I'm going to layer one on the little middle hill there, and then one more on the front hill, which I just think looks so cute. I love how they're filling up the box. So here I'm taking some more nitpicky paper, and I'm die cutting it with the stitch rectangle that comes in the scallop boxcard pop-up die. I've stamped in some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to add some white heat embossing powder and then heat that up for a nice bold white sentiment. Then I'm going to die cut some turquoise nitpicky paper with another rectangle there that's sized there for those outside little pieces of the box. I'm going to add the sentiment on with some foam tape, but then the little outside pieces just with some tape runner. That way the sentiment really is kind of the star of the show here. And so I just love adding these little decorations to all of the tabs. And now you can see it's going to fold flat, it's going to fit in a standard envelope, and then it's going to explode into this really cool 3-dimensional scene. And so I love just folding it flat and then having it explode and having all those adorable waddling penguins everywhere. It just makes me smile so much. So next up, we have some awesome cards from the design team. So first up, we have Shari, and she created this really awesome shaker. I love how it's going behind the caroling penguins. And then Audrey's scene is just beautiful, and the yellow glow behind the lights. Oh, I just love it. Elena got super creative, and she layered all of the penguins so it looks like a ton of them are caroling, which I just love so much. And then Kristen took the gift card pop-up, but she added the penguins to it, which is a really cool and different way to create a pop-up card. And then this card by Letitia is so sweet. I just love those little red stripes. It's just so bold and striking. And then this card by Elise is just gorgeous. I love the sky she created and all those Christmas trees that she added to the caroling penguins. And then Melissa's sky is absolutely gorgeous too. I love her ink blending, and it's so cool with the stitched hillside backdrop die. And then Lynette's scene with the window and the cat, oh my gosh, and the holly coming out, it's just so wonderful. So I cannot wait to see what you guys create with this set, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!